let's go to the next page. We're on 348. So we're going to 350, where they present the great geologic timescale. So in this timescale, it shows the Cenozoic, Mesozoic, Paleozoic, Precambrian. So one-celled organisms, they believe, evolved into the body-planned, ocean floor dwelling creatures. Okay, it's just the type of ecosystem that was buried. They say that the single-celled organisms evolved into the trilobites and the other organisms living on the ocean floor. They eventually evolved into like reptiles, and then you had dinosaurs, and then the reptiles, they evolved into the mammals, and then eventually you have the evolution of the birds. It says that in the Cenozoic era, the top one, humans first appeared during this era. So according to them, everything was already alive and we just appeared on the scene, And it took us millions of years to evolve from the primates. That's what science teaches. It says that on that same page, it says trilobites were common at the start of the Paleozoic era. They died out about 248 million years ago, and that marks the end of the era. Dinosaurs became extinct 65 million years ago, and that marks the end of that era. So it summarizes all of this. And that's like, is that something that a second grader needs to know? Because to actually objectively analyze that, it requires great detail. You need to move up in your education, give them some time to build up to that kind of information, because that is not something that I think should be taken lightly, and if it's not a fact, it doesn't belong in a second grade textbook. You need to summarize all the different facts, what they can actually know. That's what science means, to test, observe, and demonstrate. So all this talk about millions of years in a second grade textbook is garbage, in my opinion. I think it just needs to be removed, and then the rest can remain in the textbook and it'd be perfectly fine, but keep origins out of the situation entirely. It doesn't belong there. It's a religious idea. The only difference between creation versus evolution is that one of them is tax supported, okay? And as soon as they get their tax money taken away, that religion would fall apart, because nobody is going to invest, in a private school where they can learn about how men evolved from a slime, which came from a rock, which came from a dot that exploded from nothing long ago and far away. That sounds like a fairy tale that should never be put in a scientific journal. It needs to be put in the garbage, because that theory is trash. It needs to turn into a dumpster fire and roll down a hill. It is a really bad theory.